Welcome to the Warlock. A fine place to start,
Your soul shall be mine!
since a lot of beginners might not realize the power of Life Tap, one of the best hero abilities in the game. Get ahead and stay ahead. It's like normally I would just pick the Siphon Soul, but I'm going to try to break things down here. So a lot of the 1 mana minions tend to be bad because they don't have enough of an effect to justify their value as 1 card. These 2 cards are such cards. Some people look at the Leper Gnome and say it's amazing because it's like, oh my gosh, it's guaranteed 2 damage, but cards that deal direct damage to the enemy hero tend to be bad in Arena. That's why I have Leper Gnome ranked so low, even though a lot of times it ends up doing 4 damage. That's not enough to justify a card, I would say, in most arenas. Shield Bearer is garbage because it doesn't have an attack value and usually just dies for free. Bluegill Warrior is 2 mana, deal 2 damage. It's actually better than it looks. Novice Engineer is the Paladin hero ability these days. I used to think Power Overwhelming sucked, but when you think of it as 1 mana deal 4 damage, it isn't that bad. Although it has to be used in combo, but the Tiger is better standalone. The Summoning Portal is a trap that some people think is really good, but is actually terrible. I thought Shield Bearer was bad. Summoning Portal is a 4 mana Shield Bearer with a lot of upside if you can get it to survive a turn, but it rarely does that. Motion Warden is falls into the same problem a lot of taunts do, which is that their stats are really bad. It's like the Power Overwhelming. It's not a card you want to have too many of. Too many support cards and your draft falls apart. The Grimscale Oracle is complete garbage. I actually have this ranked as the lowest card on my list, so Darkscale Healer is easy peasy. I have the Earthen Ring Farseer, pretty desirable because the 3 slot in particular has not very many good cards in it. Earthen Ring Farseer happens to be a great card. Corehound, too few health for that much mana. The Hellfire is reasonable and even good, but I'd rather have this solid minion. I don't actually like the Blood Imp anymore, but when compared with these 2 garbage cards, the Blood Imp looks awfully good. Yeah, this one's pretty tough. For a card like this, or for a pick like this, I might want to refer to my commons list. Oh my gosh. Neutral common tier list. So I've got Shattered Sun Cleric number 4, what was the other card? Senjin number 12, and there was some other card. A dog, which is also reasonable but not so good. It turns out that I might want to actually move the Shattered Sun Cleric down a little in the list, but it's still really good, especially in a Warlock deck where you can have more 1-drops. Fairy Dragon, it's got good stats, and it's a 2-drop, it's good. Knife Juggler is a rare that I actually have ranked very highly, and of course I'll pick it here. It's a 3/2 for 2, which is already very good, and has additional upside. And the upside's pretty good. This one also has upside, but it's not quite as good. And the 3 mana 4/3 is also good. Alright, so these 2 minions both fall into the downside of having only 5 health on 6 mana, which is not a lot of health. Usually a lower minion trades with it. Especially since I have no 4s yet, this is a pretty easy choice. Even though the Guardian is just an average card, it beats bad cards. Dark Iron Dwarf is an extremely good 4. It's sort of like a 4 mana 4/4, and then having like a 2/1 charge with it. Sort of, kind of. It's really good. These 2 continue to be bad. An interesting choice between board clearing-ish Hellfire for all sides and then a Stormwind Knight. The Stormwind Knight is a respectable card. Hellfire is a card that's pretty good if you're behind. So the question is, will this deck be behind? It's inevitably going to be behind sometimes. Also, I don't have very many spells in here, so it's nice to mix it up a little. I'm not going to want to have more than 1 Hellfire. Probably. Not enough spells in here to justify the Auctioneer, so 3 mana 4/3 is quite good. These cards are all fairly weak. The Ghoul is a fine support card though. Some people look at the Raid Leader and are like, oh wow, other minions have +1 attack. That's really good. But unless you're winning, you usually don't have that many minions, and when you're losing, the Raid Leader is really bad. And the Gold Shadowfoot Minif is a classic newbie trap of 1 mana minions tend to just be bad because they don't have enough of an effect, and certainly that one doesn't have enough. The Voidwalker, I actually think, is a somewhat bad card, but I will pick it over the Novice Engineer. Slightly more reasonable in a Warlock just because you can gain card advantage with your hero ability naturally. Even though it looks like it's a It's above the curve in value for a 1, but still not very good in my opinion. Usually I like to give a measure of how many 5+ cards I have in terms of how much late game I have, and I try to aim for like somewhere between 6, which is on the low side, to 10, which is on the high side. Stormwind Champion is a really good late game card. Top tier. Acidic Swamp Ooze is a very good early game drop. It's good because the flexibility is you can sometimes use it as a late game drop. In fact, most of the time it's a late game drop. Stampede Kodo is an excellent Valley card. It's a 2-for-1 usually. You'll kill one of their guys and then have a big guy. Questing Adventure is sometimes good in Warlock decks with low curves. This is not a Warlock deck with a particularly low curve. It's more standardized, and the Emperor Cobra is generally good, but the Kodo is better. I'll take the very good removal of the Shadow Bolt. Yeti is my #1 common pick. Certainly beats those 2 garbage cards. Do I want to take a second Flesh-Eating Ghoul or a second Power Overwhelming? I'll go for the Power Overwhelming, though it's not my favorite card to have 2 of. Yep, Flame Imp. That's my favorite card to have multiple of. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, this card sucks. Deals 3 damage to my hero. Oh, and all it does is have a 1 mana discount for 2 mana 3/2. But that's really good. Frostwolf Warlord's a good card, and like these 2, Corruption is the worst removal ever. Well, no, that's not true. Naturalize is worse. Well, actually, they're both pretty bad. Usually I want to make sure I have at least 6 cards that are 2 and under that can be played. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, sort of. These don't count. So Youthful Brewmaster is fine. I still don't have that many. Also, Stillfire is a good card. When you combine it with the hero ability, it's like 2 mana, deal 4 damage, which is exceptional. No, and then lose 2 life, but that's okay. Alright, so I have the choice of Elven Archer or Bloodsail Raider here. 2 mana, 2/3, or 1 mana, 1/1. I'll choose this one, though it is actually a little bit close. Good to have a late game Ogre on my side. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 late game cards so far, and Ogre is a beastly late game card. Probably will win me some games. And finally, Mountain Giant is actually not too bad as a Warlock, but I doubt it will work. I think this Giant is actually just bad in every deck. The Bane of Doom is pretty RNG, but I'll take it over the Captain, I think. It's going to be pretty good value. It's like a 2-for-1, sort of. It's a little like Kodo. Kind of. Pretty good curve. On the late game, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 5+ cards, which is just about the right number that I want, and it's more stacked towards 5 than 6 and 7s, and that's fine. I've got the late game Ogre and Champion and Tiger and Warlord to carry me. In the mid game on the 4s, they have less than I would like, but it's got a Yeti and a Dwarf. Those are top tier. Early game's got a lot of action with a Flame Imp, Blood Imp, 2s in general. It's got generally good Warlocky type things, reasonable, spread out across the cards. Nothing too exceptional or disappointing. But I will say I'll go 9 with this one, just because the curve is very solid, and I can expect to have a good early game, mid game, and late game.
I must protect the wild. Your soul shall be mine.
Alright. Generally you want to make sure to get rid of every card that's 6+, or 5+, or even 4+, unless you have specifically a 2, 3, and a 4. Some people might be tempted to keep the Shadow Bolt, but it's actually a card that's slightly better later, just because you can't make full use of deal 4 damage early on. It's too much damage. I'll keep the Bloodsail Raider as a reasonable early game drop. It's a card that drops off, or really starts sucking in the late game. Trying the Flame Imp is of course very happy, because now I have something to do on turn 1. Something really good to do on turn 1. And keep up the pressure of turn 1, turn 2.
What you want?
So we can sort of see the value of the Flame Imp here. It manages to trade with a 2-drop, and it took his coin with it. He could have played any 2-drop there, and it would have traded. It ends up that he used the Frostwolf Gruntwell, since it's a really bad 2-drop, but it still manages to trade. I usually don't like 2/3s. I like 3/2s a lot more than them, but with the Shadowed Sun Cleric, this 2/3 is actually really good. So it's a pretty lucky top deck. No matter what he plays here, other than the spell, I will almost certainly be able to kill it for free.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Even the 3/4 should be able to take care of his 3 mana 3/3 on average. That looks like it's a setup for swipe.
Die, landlubber!
Push forward.
Which makes me reluctant to play the Silvermoon Guardian since he'll get swiped off the shield, but whatever, that's still fine. An interesting alternative play would have been life tap Brewmaster. But this sets up too much pressure to ignore. So I can summon a random demon. That seems pretty fun. I'll use the Divine Shield to not lose anyone. Oh my gosh. That was quite the random demon. Well, that's pretty much game over if you get a 6/6 as your random demon.
For the crusade!
That one's the best one you can get. Oh, overkill.
Remember, kill the loss. Your soul shall be mine. Your soul shall suffer.
Really, the previous game showcased the power having a good curve. This is also a very good curve. 2, 2, 3, 4, and having them all be relevant is one of the best curves you can have.
Put this apple on your head.
Some people worry about playing the Knife Juggler just because it's liable to removal and whatnot. And that's a valid concern. It's just that
Catch!
it's completely reasonable even if it just is a 3-2. Since I have such an aggressive opening, I'm going to swing for him instead of going after things like this, even though it's a little concerning since it has the discount. I'm not going to mind too much if he plays something for 4 mana.
Someone call for the doctor.
Pretty good turn for him. I have the same choice to make here. I can, but in this case I will trade because otherwise the 2-1 will trade into my ooze. And it's better for me to take down a 2-2 with an ability than trade off with a 2-1. This 1 mana 2-1 I tend to think of as a weak card, just because if I had a hero ability that dealt 1 damage, I could easily handle it. Unfortunately, one of the classes which does not have one has a pretty good value for it. I have the option of soul-firing this if I want to. I'd be happy to discard these two, but I'd be pretty unhappy to discard the Kodo, since the next turn the plan is to play the Kodo, and that is not that pressing to kill right now. I'd rather soulfire a more major threat.
You call that a weapon?
Like the Dark Iron Dwarf, in which case I would do the full 4 damage to it. Oh, now it's 5. Well, that's nice.
Remember, kill the loss.
I'll probably be using the Silvermoon Guardian plus the Soulfire to kill the Dark Iron Dwarf. Well, no, I'll probably be using this actually.
I wonder.
And then I can use the Brewmaster return stuff using the Brewmaster to return the 3/1. It's pretty good value as well.
Deals anywhere.
Well, so far this is not very good.
That was a mistake.
Remember, kill the loss.
Drink with
Yeah,
me,
make sure to
friend.
play these first as the cards I least want to discard.
Silver Moon shall not fall.
It's too bad to get rid of the champion. That was going to be a really good late game drop. But definitely worth it to kill the auctioneer off.
The Frost Wolves stand ready.
Pretty confrontational player there. Alright, so there are two choices to be made here. One is to go for him, which is dealing 9 damage to his face, drops him at 13, but then I would face 12, which is within lethal range. So also to consider is if I were to go for his face, he has the ability to use the owl to kill this, this to kill this, this to kill this. So if it were his turn, he would be able to clear my board. So therefore, I want to get the favorable trading in while I can. Get to use the Bane of Doom as well while I'm at it. I get to favorably trade by making sure the minimal amount of stuff I have dies.
Do I have to?
Remember, kill the loss.
Challenge accepted.
This gets me a bit wiped out against Hellfire, but he only has 1 card left. Can't really afford to hold back. Going for his face is a mistake that I see a lot of people do, which in alternate world would have resulted in him having a board of 3 guys and me having a board of 0 guys. But this way, his stuff can be cleared. I'm going to get rid of this threat, and then he's just top decking from there. Tapping is a bit scary, but it's unlikely he'll be able to do 7 damage with 2 cards. In some ways it's scarier not to tap, since getting the answers is good.
Stand ready.
Remember, kill the loss.
The Azure Drake is one of my top ranked cards. It's either number 1 or number 2 in my rare list. I think it's number 1, just because in the late game you play it, you get a 4/4 and you draw a card. One of the best late game cards to get. Not too shabby in turn 5 also.
So many possibilities.
Alright, so his setup plan is to basically make it so that when I trade this, my guy dies. Unfortunately for him, that won't work.
For Najata.
For the Horde.
7, 11, 15, 16. One of the
Well,
2 power overwhelmings would do it. 7, 11, 15 now. Only 1 damage is necessary. And yet, I think my chances are maximized by... So there's the obvious inclination to just do the Shattered Sun Clark and then hit him down to 1. And that would win most of the games. But when you have lethal set up for next turn as well, I like to play it safe. This, what he had was potentially going to deal 7 damage to me, which would mean I could have been at 3.
We must cleanse
I
the
would rather not
Sunwell.
take that chance. Since this is also lethal,
It marks the spot.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
it's lethal next turn, so I'll have to do that.
Pass me that arc-light spanner.
my eyes are open.
A play like that probably
Played.
wins like
This time.
an extra 2% of games.
Victory or death! Your soul shall be mine!
Soulfire is one of the cards that it will almost always replace just because it's too much damage early game. Like, it's really hard to find a circumstance in the early game where you would need to deal 4 damage. And I like to make the most of my cards. I find it not so great to use it on something with like 2 or 3 health. There's usually a better card suited for that circumstance.
Wanna blow something up?
This is my slight dislike for these 1 mana guys. It's going to end up just dying to the Mad Bomber. To pretty much no benefit. It's like a free card for him, although at least he had to use the coin. This is a pretty tricky spot to be. I'm going to trade for this, even though it's a less good card than mine, since otherwise he can use the Worgen to trade for my guy. Additionally, I am the class which spends life to do things. So I would like to be the one who trades, basically. Keeps things the same otherwise. That guy Endorf, a little unfortunate when played alone, but the 4/4 is enough to kill off his guy, which is all that matters. The quote-unquote nerf to make that not permanent ends up being really good for me. He's making the questionable move of not attacking with the Infiltrator. Since Warlocks can't do 1 damage to guys, I would consider that questionable.
For nausea time. Put this apple on your head.
For the crusade!
Someone's trading off yet again. Sorry. And though I know I have a Hellfire coming up, I'll still go ahead and clear off his stuff.
X marks the spot.
This Bloodsail Raider's job is just to get the Divine Shield off. Yeah, I mean, I've kept my Worgen Infiltrator stealth sometimes, out of fear that the Warlock might have Mortal Coil. It's just that I think it's not worth it to play around that. Generally. It's a great card to siphon the soul of. Be a major threat. So the hope is he plays like 2 or 3 minions with 3 or less health and a Hellfire here.
Shields up.
Well, that's pretty good for me. The perfect use of Hellfire. Whenever you think you're going to tap, you should do so before. So it's always so like I'm going to play the Hellfire, so it wouldn't be a mistake to just play it now. But I'm looking at my hand with the remaining 4 mana. I'll be playing. I don't want to play the Ooze, which means I'll play the Brewmaster. But maybe I'll tap into something better. I mean, that seemed unlikely. Just generally tap before playing stuff, if possible. Now in the late game, my hero ability is going to be a lot better than his hero ability, given my high life
We
total.
must cleanse the Sunwell.
So this game is almost certainly won. It might seem premature to call it, but I do have 6 cards against his 3 cards once he draws, and this board is even. In fact,
Put this apple on your head.
if I hit the knife, I'm going to risk getting a second knife.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Challenge accepted.
If I didn't get the knife, I would have hit this. Yeah, I guess I didn't.
Join or die, or both.
Oh,
I will enjoy it.
Challenge accepted.
so much to clean. Wow. 4, 7, 11, 15 is my
Pathetic
reach
to
right
fight
now.
too pathetic to fight your own battles.
Silver Moon shall not fall.
Fight your own battles. Well played.
X marks the spot.
Wait, wait. 4, 7, 10, 13, 15.
Remember, count for us.
Well played.
You asked for it.
Your soul shall be mine.
The last game I did consider not playing everything in case the one card he top decked was Brawl, but that is such a fringe case that I discounted it.
Hello.
If he had kept even one card in his hand, I would have been less likely to do something like that. So there are a few possibilities this turn. One is to play the Bluegill Warrior. The 2 damage gets me nowhere. One is to play the Blood Imp, but nothing gets buffed, so the only real solution is to tap. If he didn't have a guy on the board, it would also be a mistake to play the Bluegill Warrior. This card against the mage pretty much needs to be played as deal 2 damage in a spell-like fashion. Alright, so I've got to make the choice of either playing one of the 3s or the Shadow Bolt. This card is not threatening enough to Shadow Bolt. The Earthen Ring Farseer is better off healing a guy. In fact, if it healed this guy, it would be amazing. One likely play that he'll do is play Frostbolt, and then the Mana Worm becomes even bigger. But there are those times where he doesn't have it. The Arcane Missile is a similar problem. That's especially bad. Now the Mana Worm is threatening enough to throw a Shadow Bolt at. Although this is also super threatening. And now we got issues. So, choice 1 is to play the Dark Iron Dwarf. Dark Iron Dwarf will end up trading with the Mana Worm and a Fire Blast. So will the Silver Moon Guardian, most likely. Although the Silver Moon Guardian has a chance. Well, both could get demolished, but neither will be too destroyed with Demolisher. I think the Dark Iron Dwarf is better just because it kills the Demolisher in one shot. And this doesn't look like the type of game in which I'm going to have another minion out.
Handle it.
It is important to spend the mana each turn. Shadow Bolt was a possibility the last turn, but then the only other play I could make is Blood Imp. By spending the full 4 mana last turn, even though it was a more dangerous way to clear a guy, now this allows me to spend 5 mana this turn on something rather good. There's his board. That Nightmarish opening is starting to settle down a bit, though he still gets the first play. Being able to use all the mana each turn is pretty important. I had the option to choose Raid Leader earlier, but I chose not to, mostly because just the 2 health. The stats are really bad. That's why Bluegill Warrior is able to trade with it. The choice here is to play either the 3 and the 3, the 4 and the tap, or the 5 and the 1. And in this case, this is better. The life is too low to consider tapping anymore. This 3 and this 3 either will die to the Silverhand Knight, and then the Squire will kill the other one. At least with the Tiger, this will kill this. Though on this turn, I'll take some damage.
I hope you like my invention.
On the next turn, I will likely play the I think I'll play Power Overwhelming as one of the cards. Killing the Silverhand Knight with the Blood Imp is fine. It's too late for this buffing ability to be useful. Could use the Tiger to kill the 4/4, but then I would want to use the Earthen Ring Farseer to heal it. If only I could do one more damage, I would kill off the Water Elemental, which is a very good card. I will probably use the Tiger to kill off this. This will be at 4 health.
I wonder.
At which I will actually use the Earthen Ring Farseer to heal it back up to health. It seems dangerous to leave myself down to 9, and certainly it is, but I think it would be even worse for me if the Tiger were to die. It's my only board presence on the board. Not favored to win this game. His opening was too strong. But sometimes you get in that situation, and you make the most of it. That also pushes it out of Flame Strike range.
Of course.
So this has to be done. Any damage he has to be taken care of. Now at this point, this is tough because, well actually, it's not that tough. By going after my guys, he gives away a little that he might not have Fireball in his hand. In fact, would I have Fireballed the Tiger instead? I don't know. But the situation is so dire that he has so many cards I need to tap, even though that pushes me very low. Just to keep up some semblance of
Shall not fall.
like actually playing. A more scared person might play the Silver Moon Guardian, the Raging Worgen, since it's up against a mage, and mages are known to burn people down. But with that many cards in hand, if you don't tap, then you're just going to lose the long game. This makes it more likely I lose the short game, but at least gives me a chance if the game is a long game. And yes, you should play the Fairy Dragon in the middle in case of Cone of Cold.
Are you ready for this?
And the card's definitely big enough to siphon the soul off. Now there is a serious option to tap or play Raging Worgen. If I wanted to tap, I should have done it first, although the Siphon Soul was pretty much always going to be played, so it didn't matter. The reason to tap is if you're afraid of Flame Strike. The reason to Raging Worgen is if you think that whatever you have right now isn't really Flame Strikeable anyways. I mean, it's not really very impressive of Flame Strike. I'm going to tap though because I am afraid of Flame Strike. The way he's played this hand, it implies to me that he's got one. Just because he's not used that much mana. And though this is rather poor of a target to Flame Strike, if I played the Raging Worgen and then he Flame Struck, I would pretty much lose. But if this is played out, then I might have a chance. The Hellfire is a very painful card to play. Oh, this is a good card. I'll definitely double trade here, which also lowers my exposure to Flame Strike.
Behold the might of Stormwind!
No, I have to double trade here.
Remember, Kel.
Otherwise, the Cobra gets the champion. And the Stormwind champion is conveniently out of Flame Strike range.
What you looking at?
Okay, I can't really afford to get hit by the Ogre. That would push me down to 5, which is far too low. I do have 4 damage, and then the Hellfire can come in. If I play the Frostwolf Warlord, this will be a 6-6, and then with the Hellfire it'll be a 6-3. So it's my choice to either play it as a 6-6 or a 6-3 or a 4-4, and I think a 6-3 is better. And then I actually have the choice to play the Flame Imp.
So many possibilities.
11, 8, 5. Okay. Well, this play is going to look insane, but the chances are very high anyways. Then your chances of winning the game aren't high. You make insane plays. And this pushes me into Frostbolt plus 2 Fire Blast range or Fireball range or whatever, but
Well played.
still the best chance.
Well played.
Just because if it gets into the late game, you'll lose anyways against the mage with that many cards in hand.
I must protect the wild. Your soul shall be mine.
The Shadowed Sun Cleric is a card that's better later. His hand is completely unusable. So, better to just get rid of all of it. This hand ends up being below average as a hand, and it's really slow to life tap onto, but it looks like that's the plan, and then Injured Blade Master on 3. Got a lot of the high end, but I do have that combo. Unfortunately, the Blade Master is weak against a 3-2 on turn 2, but fortunately he did not have it, and this could actually be a really good opening. At least the next turn I can go Earth and Flame Imp.
Ready to ride.
Given that the only threat is the Novice Engineer, the Flesh Eating is susceptible here. Usually a card you want to play just before trades occur, but on this board looks pretty safe.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
One shot, one.
Ooh, cute. Let's see, 2 choices. Play the 3 and the 2, or play the 5. The 3 and the 2 don't seem to be getting max value here. The Warlord as a 5-5 is fine. As a Warlock, I am pretty much trading whenever possible because the life pool is important to protect. It's in the late game. If you've got a life pool, you get to draw 2 cards a turn, which is very nice.
Yes.
2 choices here. One is to play the Kodo, one is to play the Ogre. The benefit of playing the Kodo is you kill this, and then this prevents this plus hero ability. The benefit of the Ogre is you spend all your mana, and you have a bigger threat. And the Kodo can get something better than a 1-1 usually. It's also always good to look 1 turn ahead. If I were to play the Kodo, then the next turn I'd play the Ogre, and it'd be rather lame also.
Shields up!
Earth and Ring Farseers are made to heal minions. Oh, actually. Here's a good Kodo target. Rip Ogre.
My eyes are open.
Alright, always be on the lookout to do obvious trades, which is when you can kill your opponent's minions without losing anything. As a Warlock, it's important to know whether or not you're going to tap before you play out the turn. One possible play is Earth and Ring Farseer to heal this, but then I would have to play a 4 and then I couldn't tap, or I'd play the 2 and then I can tap but I float 1 mana. Seems like it might be better to tap and then be able to play the 4 and the 2, which is full mana usage. In this case, the play changes a little because I got a Blood Imp, which is nice to play early, so I can do a 3-1-2.
My eyes are open.
Do I have to? Die, landlubber!
So, great news is in the late game, pretty much get to tap each turn. I have the option to play both 4s instead, which I'll do since it looks like I'm putting on rather significant pressure on it.
Shall not fall.
Die, landlubber!
It's actually a card that I will go ahead and attack. Whatever, it's 3 damage. 4-8. So tap first. This is the most reasonable card.
Remember, Kel'Thuzad!
So much AoE. Must be fearless to tap.
Remember, Kel'Thuzad! Remember, Kel'Thuzad!
Dead on the board.
You asked for it.
Your soul shall be mine.
Pretty sweet hand there. One of the 2s will be used as a 1, one of the 2s will be used as a 3. And I'll likely play the Bloodsail Raider first as the card that is most likely to be... Oh no! I'll play the Fairy Dragon first since now the Bloodsail Raider combos with the Shattered Sun Cleric. I had the choice to play the Knife Juggler instead of the Fairy Dragon, but I'd rather the Fairy Dragon die early against whatever you plays here. Then I play the Bloodsail Raider. Oh, this turns out to be very bad for him. The lack of a play. He might already lose based on my hand. Whatever he plays here might get Shattered Sun Clericked. That's actually a very sturdy minion. I will still carry out that plan. It's not as good now, though.
The Sunwell.
And I will actually not attack his golem, just because whatever his golem attacks will cause the death of the golem. And if I were to trade, his 2-1 would then favorably trade with one of these. So he's incentivized to run the golem then anyways, and I can use this to trade for 2-1.
Your magic shall not save you.
Die, landlubber!
Push forward.
Always be on the lookout to trade up. Playing the Silver Moon Guardian is good here because the Divine Shield, his Fire Blast wants to hit both the Bloodsail Raider and the Divine Shield guy. Whichever one he aims at means I managed to survive with the 1 health guy against a mage for a turn. Good. Because I might be able to make some use out of him. In this case, if I manage to hit one of the knives on the Mana Worm, the 2-1 will manage to do 1 additional favor for him before he dies. Unfortunately, it didn't.
Die, landlubber.
So now it'll just... it'll deal 2 damage. And it's not worth it to do it on the Fairy Dragon because my guys are going to deal 3 or 4 damage to it anyways. Oh, and yes, he could have played the Mana Orb before the Frostbolt. Whoops. There's 2 serious options here. I was going to insta-tap, but it'll take me 5 mana to play this panda.
So many
That panda is not worth 5 mana. Yeah.
Your turn to bleed.
I was hoping to tap into something 4 or lower. The other play was to brew the Blade Master and then replay the Blade Master, which is ridiculous.
You won.
That card is really annoying against my guy. I think the Hellfire is least likely to be useful here. So it's time for some combo wombos. Wait, that'll still die. Crap. So I guess I Shadow Bolt instead. Nah. Divine Shield ended up being really good. I can dodge the Power Overwhelming effect.
Job done. Ready to ride.
Challenge accepted.
Medic!
For the crusade!
I can taste the mana.
Alright, looks like my reach for damage is 8, which is not quite. So I'm going to dim this. Interesting. The fact that I got the Blood Ink means that this guy will now survive the Fire Blast. Unless I fail the 50-50. I should still play this though. Alright, 50-50 success.
Do you like to play with fire?
At least the Divine Shield is gone. The bad news is if that secret is Mirror Entity, he'll get major value. Fortunately, I drew a bad card. I still have enough life to life tap. Since the plan is to play the 2 and the 6, might as well see if I draw something useful. Those are not worth soul firing and losing a Stormwind champion for. Oh, that's actually not bad for me. Hooray, Pyromancer. He had a way to save his Scarlet Crusader by sacking the Pyro first. So no matter what, I will only play one of them. It's worth tapping first. I'll play this one since it costs more.
The might of Stormwind!
Tap first, since I don't want to discard the Yeti, and I might draw a better answer. I don't think I've played my Siphon Soul yet. This could be vaporized, I don't really want to risk sending the Stormwind Champion into it. So I'll probably end up double trading for the Giant. 2, 3, 8 is really good.
Do I have to?
The Frost Wolves stand ready! Almost out of time! You call that a win?
Okay, so I can test for to be fairly certain on whether or not this is lethal by using the Siphoned Soul. If this is a counter spell, then I win, or a spellbender. Unfortunately, it isn't, which means that the secret is guaranteed to make this not lethal, because it's either the shield or the ice block, or a vaporize. So, I've got to make this weird-looking play. My bad for not positioning it properly. But he is top decking. Ugh. I'll choose not to tap into Pyroblast range, though the chance is very slim. Oh my gosh, it's ice block.
My eyes are open. My eyes are open.
You asked for it.
Your soul shall be mine.
Alright, normally I wouldn't get rid of the 3, but I think with this deck I can count on myself getting a 3 that would either be better than the Worgen or just having a higher chance of drawing a 1 or a 2. Okay, that's a very good start. Although, not much past the start. Yeah, 50-50 success. It's unfortunate for him, since now that I'll be buffed out of range.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Let the pain speak to me.
Push forward.
Yeah, okay.
Push forward.
So I was considering attacking the Acolyte of Pain with one of my guys, but then I came to the realization that he's probably, well, his most likely to play is to use the Acolyte of Pain to attack into one of my guys and Fire Blast. This is slightly more annoying, but still fun. By Fire Blasting that, basically forcing this trade, which is fine. My hand is pretty late game oriented.
Push forward.
Whenever you have a 1 health minion against a mage, you pretty much want to look for a way to get rid of it for profit whenever possible. Oh my gosh, the Kodo Dream. That's devastating. Alright, I think the Blood Imp is bad enough now that I don't mind if he gets one. This will test the Mirror Entity. It is not that. I'll play the Warlord as the best card.
The Frost Wolves stand ready.
This might get vaporized, which would suck a little, but not much I can do about it. Plus, it could easily not be vaporized. against a mage, well, against mage, rogue, hunter, generally try to put your stealth units in the middle to prevent
I've got a huge
cold betrayal explosive shot from happening. Whenever you remember. It's one of those things that's really easy to forget. I'll tap here instead of playing the Bloodsteel Raider to not get flame struck quite as hard. This is super lethal.
for Doomhammer. Your soul shall be mine.
I don't like a 2-mana 2/3 so much that I'm considering. No, I considered replacing it. The main weakness of this card is if he doesn't use the coin on turn 2, he gets a 3/3. But if he uses the coin, the Bloodsteel Raider is fine here.
Put this apple on your head.
Blue Gill Warrior is better against this particular card. Should get dealt with immediately. Wow. Rare to see a 2/2, which is where the Bloodsteel Raider shines. It's even going to get buffed to get out of 3 damage range. I considered playing the Knife Juggler instead, which would become a 3/3, which is also going to work against the Direwolf Alpha, but the Knife Juggler is less good against 3 damage. Great card.
Silvermoon shall not fall.
I'll generally hold the Soulfire against anything that's not 3 or 4 health.
Remember, kill the loss.
Looks like on this turn I tap Juggle Imp, so I'll tap first to see if I get anything cool.
Remember,
pretty cool.
kill the loss.
Put this apple on your head. I'll get right on it.
This is a really good spot to be. I've got the board control until he possibly Lightning Storm.
Silvermoon shall not
And
fall.
I've got the ability to tap for quite a lot. Using a Bane of Doom on a Secret Keeper is not exactly good, but it is a way of summoning one guy, which has a chance of killing the Divine Shield, which would be quite good. So I'll reduce, eliminate the chance that this gets it, and I'll attack with this guy because there's no way I want this guy to trigger this guy. It all worked out.
Remember, kill the loss.
Fortunately, the Fire Elemental is out of range of my guys. Of my spells. Unless I want to overkill. Which I try to avoid. The Power Overwhelming is probably a better solution, because it's more situational than the Shadow Bolt or the Soulfire. So I'll go ahead and trade this guy off. Only dealing 2 overkill damage.
Remember, kill the loss.
Okay, so that introduces a wrinkle into the plan. I really don't want to discard the Ogre. And I also really want to play the Ogre. Which means I'm going to be playing
So
Soulfire.
many possibilities.
I wouldn't mind discarding Hellfire so I should probably not tap before playing that. So I'll play the Ogre, send the injured Blade Master into the guy. Play the Slow Fire, hoping to discard Cold Fire. Then I'll tap.
Remember, kill for lust. Your magic shall not save me.
One choice is to trade this and then play Tiger, tap. The other choice is to send this Ogre into here. This rescues the Guardian, and I get to play the Ogre again.
So many possibilities.
It's not bad having a quote-unquote 3-5. Had to cost us some damage to him. I could actually play Tiger and tap instead. The 1-2 loss in stats for an extra card.
So
Actually
many
probably worth it, which means I should have tapped first.
Almost out of time.
Tapping is very desirable. Huh, okay. The Voidwalker changes my play. Normally I would be against the surviving with 1 health because of the axe, but Voidwalker solves that problem.
Let the pain speak to me.
Wanna blow something up?
Oh man! That Bomber drew 2 cards and then killed my Tiger. That's pretty good, Bomber. Alright, 6, 9, 10, 12. I'll probably tap on top of this.
I wonder.
Oh, did I just win? 10, 12, nope, not yet.
Behold the might of Stormwind!
Although as stands, he'll voluntarily trade into Maxim.
To Northrend!
You win. Well played.
I will fight with honor.
Your soul shall be mine. I smell blood.
And again, I'm pretty reluctant to play the Voidwalker because it might meet a 3-2, but looks like the immediate benefit is it stops the 2-1 from hitting. This is not a great turn 1 play though.
I hope you like my invention.
It's really good given his play. There's no way I would have played Novice Engineer in his situation. I would certainly have played a Reinforce instead. I have the choice to Earthen Ring Farseer, my guy with the coin, but then I have no turn 3 play.
As you command.
Hand is once again far too late game. I'll do the trade because the maximum mistake that I have of trading when he would do his 2 attacks is basically I lose 1 damage on him, which is silly.
My eyes are
Earthen Ring Farseer better than Flesh Eating Ghoul, since the Earthen Ring has enough attack to kill the Harvest Golem. Alright, so in my hand I've got the biggest 3 cards in my deck. The 6, the 6, and the 7. I've got the Power Overwhelming, which is quite bad. It's pretty rough. And the good news is by playing the Blood Serrator, he will probably be hitting it with his weapon. And that's not too bad a card to lose to a True Silver. It's significantly less bad than, well, other things.
Squire, attend me.
Ready, sir.
Alright, so I've had a slow start, and he's gotten basically 3 guys out on me because of it. I do have a pretty big hand. I'll play the Ogre instead of the 4/4 Warlord. Ogre is going to have to carry Emily through this turn.
Truth is my shield.
Alright, that's an excellent card for me to siphon. Clearing this is wise because it leaves it at 3 health, which survives both of these attacks. And I certainly need to reduce the damage coming to me. There's no way I can attack him with the Ogre, since it's very unlikely for me to be able to race him. 21, 11, 15, 11, 7. Even with the 2 Power Overwhelmings.
Reporting for duty.
Hellfire would be tops right now. Alright. Get the most amount of guys out possible.
The frost wolves stand ready.
Of good guys out, I should say. Flesh-Eating Ghoul Dark Iron Dwarf might not have sucked there, since the 3 health gets it out of range of the damaged golem. But the 5 health is also very important, since the 4 health is in range of these 2. So this is probably better.
What you looking at?
The Ogre, I'll have to use the Dark Iron Dwarf on this. Actually, I'll use the Power Overwhelming on this. Dark Iron Dwarf, apparently.
Reporting for duty.
Hellfire would be great. This aggressive paladin keeps coming at me.
For the horde.
Don't mess.
On Hellfire. By fire, be purged. Next turn I'm actually drawing specifically to Hellfire, or lose. 2, 3, 6, 8, 9 damage facing me. I can alternative play the Kodo and the Shadow Bolt to reduce it, but then the next turn I would be drawing dead. So, I have to go for the 1 in 15 chance. Which will probably still lead to my loss, but let's see.
Well played.
Yep. Pressure was too much. My hand was too heavy. This Dex curve is actually good, but it just got too many heavy cards.
I will fight with honor. Your soul shall be mine.
There are the Shadow Bolt since it's a bit too early to be dealing 4 damage. I've got a Youthful Brewmaster on 2. Hopefully I draw better stuff. Hey, that's really good.
Well met. I greet you.
I feel icky.
Oh my gosh. This Leper Gnome value. It just traded for my 1 drop and dealt basically 5 damage.
Is this
Whatever.
really necessary?
It's like a fringe case of when Leper Gnome is really good.
Drink with me, friend.
Mind if I roll need?
Ah, now it's the Loot Hoarder value. Curse your 2 1s. Curse the fact that I'm not a class, which
Challenge accepted.
deals 1 damage. I was tempted to tap instead of playing the Knife Juggler there, since the 3-2, or the 2-1 trades with it so lovely, but it already was going to trade the 3-2. Doesn't make much of a difference. I'd rather hold value against a get down, so I'm going to hold on to my guy here. I have no idea what secret it is, but it seems to most likely be get down. And if it's redemption, he'll trade voluntarily for me anyways. Possibly. Okay, so it's not repentance. It's not going to be eye for an eye, I'm going to assume at this level. It's pretty much get down, which means ideally I use this guy to attack into this guy. There's no series of attacks he can do that are bad. Attack Hellfire is a reasonable play here as well, but I think I can get even better value. It skirts on the greed level though.
I wonder.
Currently on this board, this triggers get down, this trades with this. And also the mana wraith making the game slower is sort of in my favor. A little bit.
Your turn to bleed!
Get down! Challenge accepted.
And go for the 50-50 with the Stampeding Kodo. Oh, this is probably better.
Job's done.
Oh, not bad that I got this one. Puts it out of novice range.
Tazdingo! Yes!
For the crusade!
This might be worth the Hellfire, since the Hellfire isn't going to be used anywhere else. The Hellfire, and then the Bluegill, and then a tap? Ooh, that's greedy. The alternative play, well, it looks like no matter what, I'm going to be taking 2 damage unless I Hellfire. In which case, I will be taking 3 damage, but without a permanent guy on the board for him. This seems reasonable to me. Pretty rough times. The opponent's got an extra 2 cards on me.
My invention.
I'll put it on your head.
Not on my watch.
Oh yeah, that is worth sacking this so much. And then I probably Bluegill Warrior this, although there is no real need to Bluegill Warrior it. And I can just use the Yeti too, but yeah, okay. Provide a buff to the Warlord, and the 2-1 might be able to be buffed up to 4 attack and take something else out.
I hope you like my invention.
This guy's drawn 6 more cards than I have.
Tazdingo!
It's pretty impressive.
Yes!
Oh my gosh.
I am sorry.
My gosh.
That was a mistake. Thank you.
Wow. Well, it's pretty good actually. Although, it turns out that it doesn't matter that much. Well, it does matter. It gave one of my guys enough to...
You call that a weapon? The frost wolves stand ready.
Unfortunately, I still have to trade since I'm low. Murgle. Oh, other Warlocks. Yikes. Oh, that's going to most likely cause me to lose. I am facing 12 damage. If I manage to kill this, it'll only be 5. That's a pretty big if. And I need to tap for an answer. Okay, well,
We must
it's on
cleanse
this
the
not being get
Sunwell.
down now.
For the horde!
And also not being... Oh my gosh.
Job's done.
Get down!
Get down!
Rip, get down. Ugh. I gained 1 mana addict. And a pack.